If you're just tuning in, this is Real Estate Chalk Talk. We're broadcasting live and remote from the Rack Shack Barbecue in West St. Paul. I'm Keith Hittner Sr. here in the restaurant with Keith Hittner Jr. and Kelvin Kaemingk, the Money Man. We've had a chat last hour with Jessica from GSS Title and GCS Title, and
I'm here for a reason.
Yeah, I know you are. And last segment we had
to point out all your mistakes.
Well, it's no
You've
different.
been doing it to me since I was born.
I know we've been doing it to who? My goodness. Wow. Yeah.
If we can't have fun, we might as well shut it down.
Well, like I always said, there's only one perfect man, and they nailed him to a cross. So I guess I'm going to just be very good company.
All right.
Okay, so
Chip off the old block.
Chip off the old block.
Get that stuff out of the way. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem at all. This segment we're going to be talking with, actually this segment and a little bit of the next segment too, we're going to be talking with Elliot Ashwell, the Chief Operating Officer of the Rack Shack Barbecues. We're going to be talking about the journey that they have been on in bringing these restaurants online and creating a business out of an idea, because it's a fun thing to do, and they're a major sponsor of the program. So I want to just start with Elliot. First of all, Elliot, just a little background for people who have never heard you. Been on the show many times before, but we just want a little background. First of all, where did you grow up and where did you go to school?
I grew up half here, I guess, and half. I grew up in Michigan. I was born here, and then I lived in Michigan from when I was probably 6 years, and then I started high school here. Lived in Burnsville my whole life, pretty much.
Okay, and then so then you graduated from high school, go to college.
Yeah, I went to the University of Minnesota, studied business and marketing there. Graduated in 2007. Started off at Normandale, though. Got a shot at Normandale.
Yep, gotta do that.
Yeah,
Get those undergrads done cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Smart and easy. So.
And easy.
Yeah.
Cheap and easy.
Yeah, basically.
Sounds like a girlfriend I used to have. Okay, so you got your that stuff out of the way, so to speak, and then tell us a little bit about your family then and how all that comes together.
Yeah, my folks live in Burnsville, and then obviously I'm sitting next to some of the family today. But my wife and I live in Apple Valley with our son Dayton, and we lived in Apple Valley for 4 years now. And Dayton just turned 1 the other day. We had a party up here at the shack, so it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a really good time. Yeah. So talk about that. How you got into the food industry, the food business, period.
Sure. Well, my parents were in the food industry before I was born.
Oh.
And then when I was born, they were still in it. And as I grew up, they always encouraged me to get into that industry because they had come from it, and they said it was great work, good tips. You learn a lot about life in that industry because you're dealing with the general public every single day. So they always encouraged me to do it. So I did it. My first job was at Buka when I was 15. They let me in the doors, bussing tables and stuff. So I kind of cut my teeth there.
Right.
And then from there, I moved over to Fridays and started my cooking career. And then I was cooking at Fridays, Bonfire. I went back to Buka and cooked there. I've been to a lot of places through my career.
Did you ever try anything outside of the food business?
It was a miserable failure, yeah. It was pretty bad. I tried sales for a minute, and it just, I was selling credit card processing. It was, who's going to let a 21-year-old handle their money? So
right.
It was a tricky industry for me to get into.
Are there other things in the restaurant business that you've done, not just cooking, but in terms of management when you're in other restaurants versus Rack Shack?
Yeah, well, my first management job, I managed at Lions Pub downtown for about 4 years, and I learned a ton there, like more than I could ever. But I was still young. Being at the Rack Shack for the last, 5.5, 6 years, I've learned more in that time than I ever have in my entire life. So I've been in the industry for 18 years, and I've learned the most I've ever learned here, so at the Rack Shack.
And so we started this experience called the Rack Shack Barbecue, or experiment, I guess I would say, called the Rack Shack Barbecue.
It's almost an experience.
It's
definitely
an experience and an experiment. It'll be 6 years in February.
Well, it was kind of around Easter, wasn't it?
Conceptually it was born then, I think.
Yeah,
before even with you, though.
Yeah.
Senior, because Senior had...
Senior's got ideas in his head all the time.
Exactly.
But, I always tell folks that it was at Easter, we were having a conversation, just kind of snowballed out of control. All of a sudden, they're looking at space in Burnsville and moved pretty quickly. Conceptualized.
That was in 2009.
2009. Conception to reality.
Right.
I suppose.
Yeah.
So so then you move into the role as a chief operating officer, and you're responsible for actually the day-to-day operations of the restaurant.
Overseeing the day-to-day operations, we do have managers in place that are here in the stores, managing the staff on site. My responsibility is, to have communication between the managers and the staff, make sure that everything is set in place for each service, for each day. I also handle the catering side of the company, so that's another piece. But it's a lot to do.
There's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of different days with a lot of different attitudes and a lot of different people. And so, it's restaurant industry. You're gonna have the turnover. You're gonna have the trials and tribulations that you would assume. But that it's just about being able to adapt and change.
Why do you think there's such a high turnover in the restaurant industry? And I know you've had some, and every restaurant does. What contributes to that?
I mean, I think it's there's a lot of burnout you encounter. A lot of people, since there's a lot of turnover, it's an easier job to get.
Okay.
Restaurants are always looking. Now we're faced with a shortage of candidates. The unemployment rate here in Minnesota is very low. So good quality candidates are harder to find. So some people they want that job, they get it, and then they enter the industry, and it's not for everybody.
Okay.
So
They get here and they think, oh, this is actually work.
exactly. So you can get chewed up and spit out pretty fast.
Yeah.
What about barbecue is different than any other cuisine that you've had or encountered?
Well, I mean, barbecue cuisine. Operating a restaurant in any regard is a challenge, of course. But I think barbecue is different because it's such a popular hobby. People can do it on their own very easily. They can go to Ace Hardware and buy a smoker.
Right.
You can't go to Ace Hardware and buy a kitchen, and then so everybody's doing it on their own, and then they come into your store and they have their own unique ideas, and they share that with you.
But everybody makes a steak too, right? It's something about barbecue that
It's the hobby factor.
yeah, it's
It's
the
a
folks
passion.
that people aren't like, oh, I'm a hobbyist of making, macaroni and cheese. But barbecue, it's a lifestyle for a lot of people. It's a lifestyle for us, obviously, but a lot of people outside of our restaurant here. So, like you say, people come in, they have their own ideas of how you should or shouldn't be doing something, and a lot of times they let them know. And a lot of folks, they call themselves connoisseurs of barbecue more so than they would say, I'm a fettuccine Alfredo connoisseur.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. You got the guys that wake up at 2 in the morning, they load their little green egg, which is awesome, and that's work though, that's real, and they're trying to do it for their family, and if it doesn't come out right, oh boy.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not like cooking a bowl of spaghetti or making a burger on the grill.
The good thing about those guys is they can come to us and they can get their our rub.
Yeah.
Right? They can buy our rub, which will be here in January. We're excited about that.
Bowl number 17.
Bowl
That's
number
right.
17 rub, be able to stock the shelves up there. We've gone through a little bit of headache on getting that process nailed down with nutritional stuff and all that, but that's cool. They can come in here and get some of our stuff and then cook on their own green egg at home.
How did you go from the previous restaurants you were at into barbecue? Did you have background in it? Was it a combination of the ownership that had background in barbecue that you create? You have your own unique recipes, your own unique stuff here. How'd you come up with the menu? How'd you come up with what you do?
I never was, full disclosure, a big barbecue guy. Like if you're going to ask me where to go to eat, I go to a Mexican place or something like that. But I always tell people, I asked my wife, Morgan, to marry me, and then next thing I know, I'm laying on the beach with Senior, my father-in-law. We're talking about menus and restaurants and prices and stuff. So honestly, a lot of them were already born in Senior's brain. He had the ideas, We started the focus groups. We started messing around within the kitchen, started kind of putting recipes together, and we worked them till we thought they were sellable, perfect, and consistent in restaurant recipes.
Yep. Some made the cut, made the
Others
menu,
didn't.
and made the menu,
Yeah,
and we had to take them off, right?
Right.
We took a few off.
Because you figure out that you can't do it consistently
Right.
and produce any kind of volume.
In a high volume environment.
In a high volume environment.
So what didn't make the menu that you kind of wish was on there? So
Now with the benefit of hindsight, we've come a long way. I think even the restaurant menus the things we've kicked off, we can do them now. Fine, because I mean,
We didn't have some
Or,
of
I
the
mean,
equipment
we
we
have
had
some
when
of
we
the
started.
equipment. We've changed so many things. We can hold things better now for longer. I mean, we have these JoJo's on their junior year recipe. One day I went over to the menu board and cut it out with a utility
Sawzall.
knife. Yeah, I was so sick of making them. So some have been
I have
changed.
that sign in my garage.
So yeah, things just adapt and you roll with it, And a lot of customer feedback too. We listen to the customers nonstop. So if they got a comment or something, we hear that and we look at it.
So I still need one thing that you wish was on the menu that you cut.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's really any. I mean, nothing on the permanent menu that we've cut. But I mean, the JoJo's were good. They were just hard to do.
So that would be one.
They were very good and very popular. Just hard to make.
I think that one thing that we learned is that the style of barbecue, this is Memphis style barbecue, which means it's dry rub, sauce on the side. And a lot of people, myself included, like on the ribs, I will have sauce on my ribs about half the time. And the other half the time I'll just eat them dry because that's the way they're meant to be served. And then people are, especially people in Minnesota, I found they are so accustomed to going to the local chain restaurant that has ribs, and they are sauced
To death.
parboiled and baked in an oven, and it's just, and that's what they become used to. So when they see a rib that is dry rubbed the way it's supposed to be done, they think it's dry, and they don't, because it's just not like growing up down in southern part of South Carolina where you're used to seeing that kind of a product.
Well, here you are. You can walk up to the counter and get yourself a nice full rack of ribs. This is Real Estate Chalk Talk. Give us a call, 612-627-8000. We're here with Elliot Ashwell. We'll be right back with a little more talk with Elliot Ashwell about Rack Shack Barbecue. Let's talk specific food stuff. I want to hear about those meats. We'll be right back.